but I wasn't running late. It was okay. When I got there, everyone was smiling at me, and I just got to my table. And at first, I was feeling nervous. It was cool. Everybody asked me what I wanted to eat. I sat down. I looked and I took in my surroundings, you know, and I just ordered myself a beer, some nice German beer. It was a Mexican beer. It was very flavoursome. Um, I'm not forgetting the. I'm not. I think I'm forgetting the name now, but it's a nice beer. So this is at Oaxaca in Brixton, and as I'm even going to Brixton, I'm looking at um a shop. It wasn't a shop. I mean, it was a sign of something. It said Moorland Road, and I just thought that was real interesting that it said Moorland Road. And then I even saw Cold Harbour Lane nearby. So Brixton is known for its um awesome landmarks. There's another place called Electric Lane. I know Jimmy would have been down there basking if he was alive today. And also, it was just good to be in the company of family. So and I also took myself with me a drawing I recently did, which I feel like is quite an accomplished drawing of anyone's standard. It just shows a very strong vision of what would be a utopian city of my perspective, because I feel like the space and the 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 perspectives of the road, they're too narrow and they make everybody feel like they're living inside a mousetrap. So I know Zaha Hadid. She was a pioneer of using space in different ways, and she was inspired by Malevich and his geometries and his system. And I know that she would have been very, very intrigued to see. I actually heard she wasn't actually very kind when it came to criticizing other people's work, but I think she had a very strong perspective and a vision of what she thought was high quality. So I think if you have this within you, where you're just gonna project that out naturally onto others. So I wouldn't try to be hard on her, but I often do. I have it in my mind where that we should always be ambassadors for our craft. We should never be trying to instill this fear into others that we are the only ones who can do what we do. Um, because it is really the discipline that I have found to be the key to unlocking the self. You have to have some discipline and know how to follow something through from the start to finish. And this is something that I have been learning more and more, and thus I've been gaining more strength to continue to do my artwork. So I brought a piece, and when I brought it out, everybody was quite engaging. Didn't know what it was at first, and once they sort of saw what it was, which is sort of like a city. I'm looking at it right now. It's red and it's blue, and it has these green patches, but the blue is more like a phthalo blue. If you don't know your colors right now, you should go and look at phthalo blue, and you should know that phthalo blue, if you mix it down with some lemon yellow, you get sort of this lovely, it's a mineral green. You know what minerals look like. So I show this drawing to my family, and I have the good fortune of their feedback. It's so good to get feedback. You shouldn't be never be afraid of showing your work. Of course, if you start drawing today, you're not gonna be 100% confident, but you have to have cojones. You have to cut. Is that an interesting word? Cojones. You know what that means to me? It means consciousness honing. You have to hone your consciousness. That's what cojones means. Cojones means to me. It's not it does mean having a pair on you, but it also means honing into your consciousness. What is your own vibration? What are you trying to put into this universe at the end of the day? So I had the good fortune of being in with family, but we eventually got to the idea of what I was going to do with my artwork. My aunt showed the pictures high quality, but she said that well, we need food to live. And recently Seven Boma, I heard Seven Boma say something funny about well, you can't eat those books. You know what I'm saying? It's true. We don't eat books, but from feeding our spirits, we can gain the resources to eat off of the books. The books is really just to make sure that you expand your mind and perspective beyond your lane. If you come from a place where you don't have tickets to a faraway place, if you do read some books, about a faraway place, well, you might become acquainted with the perspective of someone who has lived there, and thus you might acquaint your consciousness um, with this perspective, and eventually you might find yourself there. And once you're there, because you've read that book, now you have such a familiarity with the culture, and you haven't even been there. I haven't traveled extensively in my adult. I'm just 21. I haven't traveled a long time. I haven't traveled in about 7 years. So, I mean, from that time, I can say that I've been in this country, and I've really been working on my creativity. I've really been working on my music and on my compositions. I started composing when I was 17 years old. I tell this story to a lot of people. I went over to a friend's house to create music, and we were having a good time. We got quite drunk, and we invited our other friend over, Omar, and we spent some time trying to create what is called a beat. We tried to produce a beat. So producing this beat, um, I'm telling my guy, put Arabic sounds in it. Put sounds of women doing Arabic chants. I said this will sound really cool. And I just have a sort of a perspective when I just picks up I just absorb all of this different stuff. So when I'm absorbing all this different stuff, maybe I'll just remember something in the right moment. And once I remember it in the right moment, maybe it can be useful. So I just said throw in this Arabic stuff, and he threw it in, and I thought it sounded cool. He didn't think it sounded cool, but Omar understood it, because what I'm saying, he's a big culture dude. He understands what this means if you in the right context with the right setting, and so you create the right lyrics around it. Give you a vibe. So when it came to creating this music, I've realized when I was doing it that I cared about this beat more than him. So if I care about this beat more than him, why am I really giving him directions? I don't need to be giving him directions. In fact, if I can get my own gear together, I could start this for myself. So that's what I did. I got myself a laptop, my brother's laptop. He was selling it. He was trying to sell it because, what I'm saying, he gets excited about something, and then once he realizes that it's not exactly what he wants, he kind of he falls off it. So once he fell off this laptop, I think it was a 15-inch Mac. My current Mac is maybe I don't think it's a 17-inch. I don't even know if they make 17-inch Macs. I think it was a 15-inch Mac. I can't think the current one I have now is a 13-inch Mac. But this MacBook had lots of problems with it. Nonetheless, I managed to download pretty much all of the orchestral library, and all the other sounds, all the alternative sounds for the Alchemy and the Logic X program. And I just knew that as soon as I got my laptop, literally the first day I got my laptop, I went into Ravensbourne. I was studying Ravensbourne at the same time. I was 17 studying at Ravensbourne because I got kicked out of school because I was I was not going to class, and I would just go to class. I would do something I thought it was cool to come to class when no one was there, do paintings, and leave the painting for everyone to look at when I wasn't there. Because I thought my talent was so great, I didn't have to come to class like everybody else. But then I got kicked out of school, and I remember, I went down to my art teacher, and she told me, you have not been in. In fact, I wanted to tell you, you have. I think she told me she had 3 days to do like a whole portfolio, and I had a lot to do, so it was a lot. And she told me I had a lot to do, so I just did my best to go and get a bunch of draft note paper from Casa with my mom and my sister, and I got back to ask my mom for some money, and I said we went to Starbucks that night or something, and I asked the Starbucks woman, can you get me the strongest coffee that you have in Starbucks? So she just brought out this small little cup of what was like the most dark and disgusting chocolate. No, it wasn't chocolate. It was coffee. It was just black, and it was horrible. I don't know what she called it, but I drank 3/4 of that, and then I threw the rest away. And then I stayed up as like this was like one day in a row, and I would sleep. I would eat Indomies, and I would sleep on this really uncomfortable bed. It was underneath the bunk bed of someone we won't go into, but they were a very big help to me at this stage of my life, and it was really good to know them at one point. But nonetheless, I was sleeping at this time really uncomfortably. I was drinking a lot of Red Bull, and I was drinking a lot of energy drinks, coffees, and whatever, and I was staying up really late, and I had these huge bags under my eyes, and I was just really living a crazy life. I don't really know how to call it now. I mean, it wasn't pleasant at all. Yeah, I wasn't pleasant. I knew I wasn't pleasant. I washed every day. I brushed my teeth, but I wasn't. I probably used. I probably used other people's house toothbrushes because I was living with a family of people, of different people. So, and I wasn't living with my original family because my original family was homeless. But I would lie and say that people lived in Brighton. I mean, that wasn't right. I mean, I also lied about a lot of things. I pretty lied about loads of things in my life, and as I talk more, I will reveal those lies because I think it's important to tell myself what I lied about. So yeah, I was lying and doing this, but it wasn't like crazy lies, but it was just lies enough for me to feel comfortable because I wasn't comfortable telling you the truth at that time. The truth wasn't pretty. My family were living in a hostel in Besson Street, and I just didn't feel comfortable about telling myself. I've never been felt comfortable about feeling lower because I always felt like that was not an important thing. But because I even when I had a lot, I never flaunted. So I know that I just don't like feeling lower than people, but I don't flaunt either. So it's just like I'm just a neutral person. I'm just not into flaunting, but I'm not into being looked down upon. So at this stage of my life, I was just living with this family and these really lovely people, and we were living in Greenwich in Cutty Sark. And I was doing these drawings, and then the drawings were coming out, quite decent, but they don't come out that good when you're rushing and you are tired and you just. I was copying and then work. See, I was working from photographs and then copying old masters like Pietro Annigoni, and I was creating these blends. I was creating like what was a mix of a picture of my mother and say Annigoni's young girl in a hat, young girl in a black hat or something like that. I was doing my best to do that. I've always done that. When I didn't have ideas, I would take other people's ideas and I would mesh them with still lives and all sorts of other things, create paintings, and I've just until I had my own original source of ideas and creativity. There's my own wellspring of ideas within myself. This fountain of youth that keeps renewing me forever. Until I had access to that, I didn't. I used to just blend other people's artwork into one and used to create like that. And I've had tons, and that's why I have so many books because those books were my visual library now. Before I had this internal access. So, with all that being said, today was a lovely day, but I just want to go into something, and it's specialization. I don't think that we should be specializing. We should be specializing, but we should specialize in one thing, and that one thing is the ability to specialize in other things. What does that mean? That means we should become really good at remaining aware and absorbent of life and the changings. Thank you. I am Acod, and this is ALLUDINYI's Cave of Dreams. Signing out. Love you. Oh, you have something on the phone? Yeah, do you remember when you bought me those awesome Nike shoes for the football tournament? That was awesome, thank you. They were black and white. They were the same ones as Ronaldinho had. Yeah, you bought them last minute. I came home and you had the whole kit. I was like, oh my god. Oh man. I just wanted to make a transmission saying thank you to all the mothers and fathers out there because it's just love, you know what I mean? The things that we do to provide the dreams for our children. It's so important to give children the ability to realize what they have in their imaginations. My mom was so good at that, and there were so many opportunities for me to just completely geek out on my own intuitions. I remember there was this one time when we was inside a charity shop, and up on top of a cupboard there was like lots of little bric-a-bracs. But as soon as we were leaving, I kind of spotted this black Batmobile, and it was like super three-dimensional. Huh? Because there's no flies walking around. But I'll close it. Super three-dimensional black Batman automobile. It was so amazing. It looked just like the one in the movie, but this is the old movie. This is before the Joker, the Heath Ledger. This is before then. This is when Batman had a bit more of a square jaw, and his voice was less His voice was still husky, but it was less. I don't know, less appealing. I don't know. It was definitely more rustic. That's the old Batman. It was the Batman with the who was that? Who was that guy with the ice? It was the ice freeze man Batman, and it was the Bane, but he wasn't yet Bane with the It wasn't the gangster Bane. It wasn't the gangster Bane. It wasn't the Bronson Bane. It wasn't Bronson Bane. Bronson Bane hadn't been created yet. This was the Bane with the stuff on his back that you had to put. He had these cylindrical masks, sort of like they use hospital funnels coming out of his back. It was so cool, and I remember watching that, and it was during that Batman. And then when I seen the 3-dimensional model of the car, it was so amazing. It had all the facets, it had all the features, it had all the ridges, sort of like a black beetle back with it. It looked like a futuristic Aventador. And it had what seemed like a cylindrical lid that you could sort of lift up and pull off, and there would be like a Batman in there. I remember playing with that thing in the bath. Yeah, and I just wanted to say thank you. I just wanted to give out that transmission to say we should always just appreciate our family, even if we can't realize those dreams. Even if we wasn't able to, we should just make sure that we appreciate what we are able to realize, because this is what we're here for. At the end of the day, we're here to realize. Oh, great, okay. We're here to realize ourselves. We're here to have the greatest experience possible, because, where else are we going to experience the greatest experience possible other than on the earth? So, I just want to put that transmission out there. ALLUDINYI's Cave of Dreams. Lots of love. Out. Mums, pops, we appreciate you and your dreams. Transmission, ALLUDINYI's Cave of Dreams. Just met a wonderful being, Sam K, telling me about wigs, telling me about tracing the history of wigs, tracing the history of men's experimentation with accessories. Extraordinary being. You know what I mean? Hopefully he's gonna come on the podcast. He's gonna email me back. Sam K, real famous spirit. I'm actually in hysterics. Prior to that though, I got a transmission based on understanding that the planets are these energies, these filters are essentially, they are measuring mechanisms for our spirit to tell itself and basically measure its own growth. The energy of Saturn could be said to link to time, and time is said to be Father Time, said to represent the destruction of all things. Basically, that matter will extinct. Matter has to end. The expiry date on all physical forms should make one understand that the timeless is where we should gravitate towards. We shouldn't gravitate towards the material. If the timeless is where we are expanding onto, and essentially what is giving us life, and then you could say that time is what is decaying us. You could say, who do you serve? And I am seeing that these energies are really mirrors for the spirit to see itself and understand its own growth. And other than that, though, I got another transmission based on laws, and it was that laws are walls, and it was that laws are walls, and it was that rules are lures. Like if you are lured towards an empty vessel, something that looks shiny, but when you get there, there's nothing inside it, and you are fooled. This is Maya, this is illusion. So these are laws, and rules being man-made are essentially just that. And that's what the gospel of today is. The gospel of today is sovereignty. The gospel of today is a complete understanding of peace, of love, of treasure, of glory, of beauty, of understanding. In the park, there is a little small, you could say like a little bench, but it has a roof. And I was recently just sitting under there, and when I looked up, I peered up and I saw Satan's triplets. Satan's triplets. And these are three homosexual dudes I've seen in the park. It was so strange when I saw them, because they were all linked, holding arms, but around each other's necks. It was very, very weird. It was almost like seeing a 3-headed snake. So that's the transmission.
I mean, I don't really know. I don't think we can go in on that. I mean, a three-headed snake. I mean, so what? Okay, so what do we say when we talk about a snake that eats its own tail? That's called amphispina, or other people call it an Ouroboros, on Ouroboros, and everything I'm seeing like all of these signatures all coming right back to West Africa. It's all coming back down to the Ori, the Orisha, the Shah, the call, the oracle, the calling of the aura, and the aura, our auras, even that, the music of our spirits, the skin, the flesh, the carbon, the 666, all of this stuff. I'm seeing this, and when I'm seeing all of these different signs, symbols, codes, I'm looking at Meonic texts, I'm reading certain manuscripts, and I'm seeing this, and I've been looking at this stuff for a long time. I remember a dude who used to run with back in the day. You remember he saying to me like, "So what do you do? What are you doing with your spare time? Why are you so intrigued about this? Like, what actually makes you what are you excited? Like, what are you? Why don't you watch TV?" He was actually getting to, and I was saying to him that I'm excited about discovery, discovering what is actually there. That's what is what fuels my search. But we were about 17 at the time, and he was really just intrigued to see that I wasn't really paying much attention to the consumptive parts of the world and how much the other creators have created, and then essentially there's people just sort of feed that and then feed on that and then regurgitate that. I'm more about what Terence McKenna calls the creative, and understanding how we need to be creating these archetypes instead of just absorbing. So consumption and creation, I mean, those are two hands on the same spectrum, but we need to be able to balance those two. I know we do have to consume to live. I'm not a breatharian, and of course, Seven Boal, he was going in on that. He was talking about the quality of the breath. Are we living by the Himalayas, or are we living where the heavy metals are? How are we going to be able to absorb the wonderful air if it's not wonderful? So when it just gets down to common sense, we just have to understand that it's about getting through, and these astral travels. That's what it's about. I'm an anchor. I'm weighed down. I'm heavy. I'm real heavy. I'm so solidified in what I do that nothing can throw me off path. I've been railroaded by heartbreak, and I've been able to basically be down for someone when I was down myself. I got a lyric that says, "I was down for you. I was there for you when I was down." You know, I was there for you when I was down. Drag your hair from the roots. Crash Bandicoot. That's poetry, you just get links and things like that. But of course, that's about pulling things together, and that's what we're gonna do. As soon as we're gonna get our studio space on deck, we're definitely gonna be putting out records and putting out real music for the people, because that's what it's about. It's about modern music. At the end of the day, Quincy Jones, he was talking about, oh yeah, the melody is the voice of God. Let me tell you what the melody is. Okay, the melody is all that cannot be expressed in words. Okay, so it's what you can't express in words. If you can go to an instrument and you can tap into that, then you can therefore express it. I love Chopin mazurkas. I hear beautiful poems inside the mazurkas. This is genius. I'm just looking like, wow, the mazurka. I actually think the mazurka is one of the most beautiful musical forms, and I wish to expand the mazurka. So I'm definitely going to expand the mazurka. I'll take the mazurka. I'm about to flip it in a whole new way. But you know what? Music is just that. It's language. Language is malleable. Shakespeare is just Shakespearean. This is a Shakespeareans. I'm shaking up this experience right now. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just a wonderful day. I'm just feeling so much energy. I'm feeling really, really, really good. I'm feeling the class. I'm feeling right now the classy, cool mood. I'm feeling cool. I'm feeling classy, and I'm feeling moody. So this is Moods, and I'm signing out. Alladini's Cave of Dreams. Love, peace, transmissions.
So some people camp there for a night before just to get the job, and they just like, so it's like I could buy a pair of trainers that are like £300-400, and you think, oh, £300-400 is quite a lot of money. Yes, it is, but I can resell it for like 1500.
Wow.
Yes, like, and that's what people do with.
That's why they come.
Yeah, that's literally what people do. Like some people provide their whole life just by that. Like that's just by reselling stuff, just by buying it, reselling it for like £500 more, just just because it's like a limited edition. You can't get it no more.
Yeah.
Once it drops, it drops. Like that's it. Like so, yeah. That's where the
I
that's
think that's what David Ray does. You just walk Range Rover.
who?
The guy that went to my secondary school, David Ray. I think he does something like that because I know he works in fashion. So I think it's that reselling thing. Yeah.
Yeah, quite a lot of people do it. Like it's like quite lots of people do it.
You gotta really love like the fashion words to it.
No, you don't even need to. You just gotta have the cash to wait outside the shop just for it drop. Like you just gotta know the right
So
drop.
you don't even look, yeah, exactly. You need to know what like when it's gonna drop. So you need to be following it.
Yeah, but like there's like you can download download apps, yeah, which tells you about when it is due to drop.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Even on my phone, I go on Insta
Can I get the clipboard, please?
and I follow follow pages that just tells me when trainers are due to drop. Like you know when they're due to drop. Yeah. You always know.
It's true.
You always know. Even like back in the days, like even my dad always knew when trainers are due to drop. Like if you like it, you will know when it's due to drop. It's like, and it's like if it's mixed with Supreme, so if it's like
Oh, yeah, Supreme
a
sounds a lot.
Supreme collab with Nike or Supreme collab with that brand or this brand, it's like the Supreme brick.
Yeah.
You've seen the brick?
The logo.
No, the brick.
The brick.
Supreme made a brick.
Oh no, I haven't seen
A
the brick.
brick that literally has Supreme printed on it. It's a brick.
Oh.
Brick. Just a normal
so,
brick.
okay.
Just literally a normal brick. That brick was like, I think it was like 50 or like £100. People bought that brick. People resell that brick for like £400, £500 for what? A brick that just a brand is printed there.
It's the brand.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Like,
If you got a big name, you can sell anything.
a brick. So pre-makes everything. So pre-makes like from bricks to like phone cases to like nice to like everything under the moon. They'll just put Supreme on it and turn it red, and people just resell it. Like, so I've found out, like, I think last time I was with Omar, we was talking about things like this, and then this thing popped in my head, and it was like like you just have to you have to cater for people's needs. That is all it is. People have needs for so much things, needs, all these needs. If you cater for the needs, for example, people cater for your needs, and that's your weed. You need your weed. People are out there
I get to a place where I actually don't need my
So it's like, it's just like people want too much things, so it's like you can make cash from all those things people are craving.
Supplying them.
Yeah, like just like people, you make a lot.
I just know that I need to be my own boss, so that's just it. That's what I'm going
But like I do get like being your own boss, but like don't just like be your own boss just to be your own boss, innit? Like if you want to be your own boss, make sure like you actually like what you are trying to do. Kind of like
even if what you're trying to do is not like your favorite thing in the world, if you're your own boss, it makes it 1,000 times more fun. Just because there's no one telling you. That's for me anyway. Because I think I like direction, but I really like space. So I don't really like being watched while I do things. I like when they just tell me and then I do it. So I know that I'm not suited to work for someone for the rest of my life.
I get that. I get that, but it's like working for yourself, like working for yourself. That is like that is literally what like everyone's like. I ideally wants to do, innit?
Yeah, but you've got to
Be
actually,
their own boss.
you got to actually have the discipline to actually be your own boss.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to be their own boss, but
Yeah. But like,
lots of people, including myself sometimes, don't really realise how much work it takes to be your own boss.
takes a lot of work.
Loads. Way more than working for someone.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to require like double, triple the energy, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it will be worth it, but it just shouldn't be a thing that like, oh, you're trying to rush.
Oh yeah, of course.
It shouldn't be like, oh, I just want to be my own boss. I don't care what it is. I just want to be my own boss because that is why most drug dealers sell drugs.
Oh yeah.
Because they want to be their own boss.
But you're not really.
But it's like, no, you are.
It depends how you do it. Because lots of, well, I don't know about lots, but some of them will join the gangs of the groups who deal, and they'll just be part of that line. So they really work for a bigger guy. There's always like a guy above. Even your supplier, depending on where you get your weed from, there's always an above guy.
This is what happens. Certain people get like put on. Certain people get put on, and people are like, okay, you shop for me, and you will get you get that car and this car. But certain people pick up a large amount, and they distribute it themselves. So it's like all their prof. So it literally goes straight back into their pocket. Yeah. But most people like sell for themselves nowadays, because like kids are like 13 and they get put on. So it's like, oh, who is trying to be like 20 or like 17 and get put on.
That's true.
Like no, like everyone's and because like and they have quite a lot of pride as well, so they're like, oh, fuck that, I'm not trying to get put on by him. No, I'm gonna make my own line.
They want to be their own boss.
Yeah, but even that like no, they actually make it like depends on like, how long you've been doing this.
Mm.
You make a lot of money. Lot of money. You actually do.
What with what? With weed?
With it all, with the whole shebang, you make a lot of money. Because I calculated, yeah, it's like my friend, it's my friend's house, he lives in Greenwich, yeah.
Mm.
He has like, there's 5 people inside of his house, including him, yeah. And now he's chick there, so that's 6, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we calculate like how much money their Tila makes like per week just from that house, and it came up to like 30 grand or like it came up to okay, but
That he would need to
there's like 5 people in that house. They all buy like the 3-5 each, each
okay.
like day or so like 3-5 lost in like a day like and then like so it's like
He's got to be doing a lot of shots every day to make 30,000 a week.
okay probably
And
not
other people.
probably not like exact 30,000 from that house. That's probably a lie, but it was in its thousands.
Exaggeration.
Yeah. Like
I think it was around maybe a week. Maybe max 10 grand. That's even a lot. Because it's a lot of shots. Actually depends on how much he's selling. If he's selling really big bits all the time.
No, just to the house. It's not even about
So it's just that house. People come to him.
No.
Or the people in the house buy from him.
Yes.
And that's it.
Everyone in that house, everyone who goes to the house, get it from him, just from just from that guy, no one else.
Okay.
And he just does 8, just does 8, or he does 2 for 30, I think. Yeah. He just does 8, or he does 2 for 30. No, 2 for 35, I think. Yeah. But yeah.
That's why it doesn't go out.
Like he makes so much money. Every time I see him, he's in a new car, a new Mercedes, this and that. He's flying away now. He having people shooting for him now. Like he's at the top.
And then you made it when you got people shooting for
He's
him.
the top dog now, and he actually makes racks from my friend's house alone my friend's house. So every other house he does, like he makes like a few mil a year. He makes a few mil a year, which is not tax, like which is not tax. So it's all a mil for him. Like it's like
You should just do that for a couple of years.
huh?
You should just do that for like a few years
No,
and then stop.
No, that's a bad idea. You're not trying to do that, because that's a bad thing to do.
No, I don't mean do it forever. I just mean like until you make another 2 mil and then you stop. Then you invest the money properly.
No, that won't happen because you won't stop.
You won't stop.
You won't stop. Like once you
Well,
have,
you probably won't stop.
you won't stop. I'm
But
telling
if you
you,
don't stop, you eventually get caught.
you won't stop. You won't stop. Like I have seen like my personal friends themselves saying, "Oh yeah, I'm due to do this for this amount of time," and they try to stop, and they're like, "No," because they're addicted to that money coming in now. They are too used to that flow just being there, and people call their phone. Oh yeah, G, can I get this and that? And you're like, oh, I could have made like £500 today. Like what? So it's like you won't stop. You get hooked. You get dragged into it, and then you're like, raw. Like I've been selling drugs for like 10 years. Like 2 years turns to 10 years. You're like, raw. What? Like it's mad. Like dropping that like better hard. Like I think people try. It, even when my friend got hit by a car, he was like, "That's me done now. I'm not even due to do it. No, 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 no." What? That was a lie. Back on the same ish, like, and he got hit by a car. He got hit with a car. His dad passed away. His mom passed away. So now it's literally just him. Like his sister lives in Bristol and one sister lives in Barca. So it's literally him on his own, just at uni in his house. Like man, I'm saying like I'm not gonna stop. Like,
You can move it closer, but I mean,
no, it's calm. It's calm.
yeah.
Once it's lit, it's lit.
Oh.
I haven't smoked a pill for a long time, bro.